First, the bipartisan committee investigating January 6th requested testimony from Republican Congressman Scott Perry of Pennsylvania. Perry responded, quote, "I decline this entity's request and will continue to fight the failures of the radical left." Then the committee requested testimony from Congressman Jim Jordan of Ohio, the ranking member of the powerful House Judiciary Committee, a request which Jordan called, quote, "an outrageous abuse of the Select Committee's authority." Today, the committee went to the very top, requesting testimony from House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy, the highest-ranking Republican in the House caucus. Now, McCarthy has yet to respond to the request. He previously indicated he would cooperate with the investigation, but he's also now called the committee a, quote, sham. I want to bring in Michael Steele, former chairman of the Republican National Committee, and Barbara McQuade, former U.S. attorney for the Eastern District of Michigan. And Michael, let me just start with you on just the oh snap implications here of going straight to the top of the House Republican caucus and say, like, you clearly have information we want to know about.
Yeah, and I think that's important, an important point not to miss or even overplay, because what it says is that the information that the committee has been collecting has led to this moment. You don't make this move unless you've got something that creates the impetus for it, supports the impetus for it, and justifies making, because the political ramifications, Chris, are enormous. So what are those political ramifications? One, it exposes the efforts of the Republicans, and more specifically McCarthy, on that day, how they responded to the president, what they said, not for the prurient interest of, oh, what were your, but were you aware of just how much this was driving the narrative that led to what we were witnessing live on television? McCarthy sort of went off to the reporter that you showed in the first segment where he's like, oh, yes, I'll respond. We know that that was bull. There's no way that he was going to do that. And I think Betsy put her fingers on it. That's not going to be a driver for him right now to cooperate, but rather the consistent driver to obstruct and to play it off as a witch hunt. But the committee's got to come with the hammer. And if they're prepared to do that, this could get interesting real quick.
Well, let's talk about that, Barbara. I mean, we're in interesting legal and constitutional territory. You get subpoenaed in a criminal case, or you get a subpoena for document production or deposition in a civil case. You comply, generally. Very rare not to. This is a voluntary ask for compliance. And then the question is, well, what do you do if not? And that answer to me is not, the legal and constitutional questions here do not seem to me settled or resolved. What do you think?
I agree with you, Chris. The phrase unprecedented is maybe overused from time to time in our current culture. But this really is a situation that is unprecedented. Congress serving a subpoena on one of its own members. And so we don't really know how that can shake out. And so there are legal questions. We sometimes refer to that as litigation risk. You don't really know what's going to happen. But I would have to think that this has been a very skilled legal staff that appears to be guiding this investigation. I don't think they would have gone down this road of this very public request for voluntary information if they didn't plan to back it up with some sort of legal process. And so it could be a subpoena, and we'll see how that plays out.
Yeah, I mean, that is the big question. There's also the other dynamic here that I'm just utterly fascinated by, Michael, and this is something I feel like you have more insight into than I do. As I'm going through the recitation of facts at the top of the show, one of them is, that on January 11th, he's on a phone call with the whole House Republican caucus. And he's, and I'm thinking, well, Liz Cheney was on that call. Liz Cheney was number 3 in House leadership. Liz Cheney was probably around all of this. Liz Cheney probably heard him say, like, the president is better say something. So, there's an informer on the inside of the operation, A. And B, I think part of this is, like I said to Betsy, the narrative that is being crafted here is showing all these Republicans who in the moment understood what was happening and were horrified as a key part of the story this committee wants to tell.
And that's what makes this so hard for them to play the, oh, I'm not going to cooperate game now, because you did have Liz Cheney in the room, on the calls, listening to the leadership and how they were approaching this. And I can assure you that Kevin McCarthy shared his conversations or portions of that conversation with members of that caucus. So what animates some of this is what Liz already knows and what Liz has probably already shared and said, okay, here, turn this page, pick at that scab, go after that point. And that's what makes this hard for Republicans now who on January 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th were expressing their honest outrage about what they saw and how the president responded, who then in Kevin McCarthy's case, the 28th of January, was licking the boot. It wasn't even bending the knee. It was licking the boot to curry favor with the guy who 2 weeks before they thought was a real threat to this democracy.
And quickly, finally, Barbara, we've only really seen, Bannon is the one who sort of really just flouted it. And he was referred for contempt and is going to be prosecuted. Everyone else has kind of played it both ways. Meadows was cooperating, then he wasn't. He also has a contempt referral. Others have pleaded the fifth. Others have cited privilege, et cetera. So there is a real, it's not like members of Congress are just going to treat this like nothing if they get a subpoena.
I think that's right. And I think one of the things the committee has done well is sort of this public shaming with this 6-page letter and laying out all of the details about why they want his testimony and why it's so compelling. And so anybody who reads that, I think, would feel some shame that you need to come forward and tell what you know. But in terms of legal process, we'll see if we get there with a subpoena, whether he opposes that. There's been some argument that perhaps the speech or debate clause gives him some cover, but I don't think so. That clause is designed to protect members of Congress from the executive branch from arrest. I don't think it protects a member of Congress from a fellow member of Congress.
Michael Steele and Barbara McQuade, thank you both.